Backyard Konvos podcast.
Welcome everyone to the Backyard Cover Podcast. I am your host, Web Pascal, and I am joined by my good brother, my good friend, Brother Pastor. We're still going through this.
We're not sure yet what the time we're going to be. We're going to use
Edmund.
I'll take it.
So, but we're here.
We're here in the backyard.
In the backyard.
Just so you know, stare back there. You'll see that Pastor Webb does cut his own grass. I don't know if you can tell. He cuts his own grass.
At some point, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? At some point. And then he's a master on the grill.
Man, I don't know about a master, but I can find my way around it.
I'm amazing at hot dogs. That's me. I'm great at hot dogs.
Yeah, but I actually like to cook, man. I cook 95% of the time at home.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm
the primary guy in the kitchen when it comes.
I'm amazing at whipping out a phone and ordering pizza. Like no one does it like me. I'm amazing. It is what I do.
Well, God bless you. Because we try to avoid doing that as much as possible. But,
makes sense.
But you know, every now and then you got to do it.
As a family, there's always budgetary concerns. You gotta, and then you gotta eat right.
And most importantly, for health reasons too. So we do our best to,
Yeah, no, I'm blessed. I got a wife. I can't cook. I know nothing about culinary. I'm the type of guy who would get up and eat a Snicker bar for breakfast and say that was a good. There was nuts in it, so I was terrible. Amazing. And then I have a wife who is Haitian, but not just Haitian, who is Haitian non-directly, who is Haitian with fingers. You name a Haitian dish, she can make it. You name an American dish, she can make it. She was born in the Bahamas, so she's been trying to get into that. You name a Bahamian dish, so I lucked out like nothing.
Bless you.
I lucked out.
Listen, you could not pay me money, man, to get in this kitchen, man, to cook any Haitian dish whatsoever. Not doing it, don't want to do it, have no desire to do it. But however, I will eat it.
You just won't make it.
I just won't make it.
I appreciate you.
Because Haitian food just takes too long to cook, man. It's like
the same thing. I won't make it either. I will eat it.
Man, it's a whole preparation from the day before, and then you in the kitchen for the next 2-3 hours, and if not 4, I don't have time for things like that, man. I want to make something.
I know come back, it's still not good.
Yeah, man. I appreciate the complexity of it because it tastes great. Don't get me wrong. But as far as me going through the process of me making it, not happening.
Not for you.
But anyway,
Haitian restaurants. We'll call it a day.
That's right. So let's get into our topic for today.
Yeah.
So, I am well aware that a lot of us know that a lot of younger Haitians are actually leaving the Haitian church. Mm-hmm. And one of the primary reasons is that some of them are not Haitian enough for the Haitian church. Mm-hmm. And because either they were born here or they came in to the U.S. at a very young age, or some of them are not American enough for the American church. So if we could find a nice mixture of whether if it's the Kringlish or the Creole worship mixed with the English, and I think that is a perfect bouillon. For many of us. So, what do you think some of those problems that the Haitian youth is currently facing right now when it comes to the Haitian church?
Oh man, there's the reason for that mass exodus. There's so many. There's 1,000 reasons that you can think of, and I think it'll be different as far as the reasoning for every in the church. Every church will have a different reason.
Absolutely.
But if we're going to find the most common ones among the Haitian church, I think there's certain things you cannot not mention. First and foremost, you can't forget to mention the idea of culture being superimposed on top of spirituality. where there's a tradition in the Haitian, just in the Haitian arena,
Yes.
where we don't make the distinction between cultural and spiritual teaching,
Yes.
where all of it is a bouillon in the pulpit.
Mm-hmm.
The pulpit is just a soup of just everything that comes to mind, and we don't have that distinction. Now, mind you, if the Haitian church is going to be the Haitian church, she has to have spaces where culture is not
Absolutely.
indoctrinated but taught. Like,
Absolutely.
I want to retain the language. I think that's good.
That's great.
Those old school songs from the Chant d'Espérance,
Mhm.
that is essential to us as a Haitian church. Because when you, I don't care how long you've been away from the Haitian church,
Yes, sir.
when you come back, and Haitian mommy, last night my mother sang for the first time 74 Creole Chant d'Espérance. Allah yon zami c'est Jésus. Well, I lost
I know
my
the song.
mind. Lost
I know
my
the
mind.
song. But I didn't know 74.
Oh, you didn't know? That's
No.
my time. 74 Creole Chant d'Espérance. I will not forget that. No, it's like, what a friend we have in Jesus. So all those old school hymns, the methods that they use to teach us, all of those I think still have their use. However, when we give more importance to the methods, to the culture, to the traditions than we do to the spiritual teachings, all of a sudden, for those of us who either grew up out here or left Haiti at a young age and are not necessarily just steeped in just the Haitian culture, you push us away.
Absolutely.
There is room for the culture, but you have to make that distinction and understand, I've got certain things we do, the intent of this is culture. But then again, we have certain other things we do where the intent of this is spirituality, to teach you, to get you closer to God. And we make that distinction. The moment the Haitian church can begin to do that, it doesn't solve the problem of the mass exodus, but it begins to sort of chop at it a little bit, to diminish it.
Because I believe that we could be so stuck within the traditions, even if it doesn't necessarily work anymore. But
Yeah.
the fact that I think the older leaders have this tie with the traditions that if it is not being done this way, that there is no other way to actually do it. Like, your way is wrong, your way is not effective. And the truth and the reality is, even Apple would come out with a product. It is tested, it is proven, it goes through a series of testing, and then after that they release the product. Even after they release the product, every 2-3 months or every 6 months or every so often, that you would see that they would come out with an update that would fix a bug, or that would fix or that would improve the quality of the product or the usefulness of the product.
Exactly.
So I think sometimes that we get stuck in the methodology of the way that we do things.
Yeah.
That we completely forget that, okay, the youth is youthful, they are innovative, they are creative, and they were born here. They are exposed to a lot more than their parents.
Yeah.
Information is at the tips of their fingers.
Yeah.
Whereas you had to go to a library, but now it's like
Google.
you could write a book right now and just do an ebook. You don't even have to print a physical copy.
Exactly.
Whereas them, they need the physical book. So the book is still there, and it's still online too. But it's just that if they don't have the physical one, then they may feel like
Times have changed.
times have changed. And I think one of the things it talks about in the word, it says that the sons of Issachar knew the signs of the time, and they were able to make adjustment. They were able to. If we don't learn to make those type of adjustment, then that's when we have created a bigger problem in our hands, because we refuse to change the way that we execute things, or the way that we do things.
You're going a little bit too profoundly, I think. And by too profoundly, I appreciate that. No. Here's the thing. Because we have a church that is essentially stuck in the 90s. The current church is stuck in the 90s. The current crop of pastors, and I don't want to disrespect any pastors. I think
of course not.
These men have done great with what they had.
And they have their place in the church.
Exactly. They have their place. What they've done, what they're doing should be respected. And if you come at them with anything less than respect, I think then you've crossed the line.
Absolutely.
So with that being said, still you have to address that we have a crop of pastors that are stuck in the 90s. There are things you could get away with in the church in the 90s that you can't. Let's keep it shallow. Let's not go profound. Let's not go into the instruction. Let's not go into the methods of instruction, into how the people are understanding, into sort of like, are you relevant with the teachings? Let's not go to that. Let's keep it shallow. Let's come in and look at the superficial things such as the presentation of the church.
Yeah.
Just that right there tells you that, no, this is not for me. Because you come in the church, the presentation of the church, first and foremost, the quality of the sound in the church is terrible. In the 90s, you can get away with that because as a Haitian church, we were still stuck in what we didn't have in Haiti. So we brought that lacking here. So it wasn't a big issue. Now, sound has become so much cheaper than it was back then.
Absolutely.
The quality of musicians has augmented so much that what we used to tolerate, we don't tolerate anymore. So all of a sudden you have a church, a group of people in the youth that require more than what the churches know to provide because the church is stuck back in the 80s, in the 90s.
Yep.
In the 90s, that was fine. In the 2000s, early 2000s, that was fine. Now, things have changed. If you see the church that are doing well, that are most successful, that can actually attract the youth, it is a church that is modernized in their presentation. I'm not saying that the presentation has to be prioritized overall. What needs to be prioritized is that instruction, is that teaching.
Sound teaching.
However, let's make it a point to understand that we're humans. What strikes the eye is appealing to the heart. So if you don't understand that the presentation of the church, the sound, the AC unit, the carpeting, all that works to get the person to come in and feel comfortable.
Are you also referring to the flowers that overshadows the pulpit?
Oh my God!
Because I was talking to this. My God, when I was talking to this young pastor, man. Back then he wasn't ordained yet, and his dad is actually the pastor of the church. When I talked to him, I said, "Dude, man, every time I come in here, the flowers, man, are just tripping me out, dude. It's like the whole entire pulpit is covered with flowers." And I'm like, as a male, I'm trying to figure out how. Okay, the body of Christ is already known as, the bride of Jesus. So we are already, so I could understand that. I could understand that there are more women in the church than male. But the very few males that we have in the church, we gotta feel like we're not losing our.
I'm gonna let you ride with this one.
It's as you can see,
we all understood it. We all understood it. Here's the thing. I think this has less to do with male-female dynamics and more to do with cultural. Back in, and I hate to keep bringing it, but when we're dealing with the Haitian church, we gotta address Haitian things. If you look back, especially where you come from, the place I come from, that means as far as decoration, anytime you have to make something pretty, your go-to thing, flowers. Fleurs rouges, fleurs jaunes, un bel petit fleur. Everybody, you like a fleur, surtout cher. This was how you beautified something. Times have changed. Let's modernize it. If the church has the capacity to do it, bring someone in who can help design that. If the church has and the thing is, I don't want to keep it shallow all the way, but we have to understand that aesthetically, the church is often more geared towards a different a different generation than the upcoming generation. Well, Pastor, that's shallow. Yes, it was meant to be shallow because humans, we have some shallow aspects of us. Let's not pretend like we're all coming here, hallelujah, holy.
Some things are not that deep, bro. Some things are just...
It's just there.
It is what it is. There's no depth to it. It just is what it is.
I guarantee.
But one of those things I think we should discuss is the fact that majority of the time there is no youth pastors in those churches, as in this is one department that usually there is no budget for. So which means that there's only budget for the building. There's budget for hopefully
if you look at the look on my face, you see I'm listening to you and I'm appreciating.
So the overseer is overseeing any and everything, but oftentimes there's not one person dedicated, as in not just a youth president, but I mean we're referring to someone who is dedicated to this department of the church, which is the youth, which is the future of the church.
The concept of youth pastor is something that Haitian pastors typically we're not aware of. I don't want to say all of us, but if you're looking at the overall tradition of how we do it, youth pastors aren't something that the Haitian church really pushes. Now there's a bit of a change in that direction, but it's very recent. I would like to say within the past 10 years or so, you've seen that shift.
But I think it's only because they are realizing that it's like, you know what, n'a pas dit génial
if we don't.
Yo allons à l'église américaine, which there was absolutely nothing wrong with that.
Oh, nothing wrong with that.
I mean, because as long as you are serving God, as long as your soul is being fed and you are growing in every aspects of your life, it doesn't matter if you go to a Hispanic church, a yellow church, a green church,
Jamaican church.
Don't really care.
Got a lot of my youth that went to a Jamaican church. They were blessed. I understood.
And so now that they are realizing that, okay, we have to move towards actually having a youth pastor.
A different structure.
A different structure. I'll tell you what. I was having a conversation with someone yesterday about a major churchman in the Haitian community that went through a transition about a year ago, where the senior pastor of that church officially passed on the baton to a younger pastor.
That's not something you see often in the Haitian church.
Yes, but
go for it.
Keep in mind, by the time he did that, I mean, he's late 70s, if not early 80s. Yeah, early 80s. So now, for the first over 40-something years of this church, since it has been in the community, it was just pastor and his wife that solely make the decisions. Everything you call pastor or mapas. Majority of the decisions. So there wasn't no governing board or a structure as far as in the leadership that, okay, even if he's not here, these are the trusted advisors for this entity to be able to make the decisions for the advancement and the growth of the church. So now you have this new pastor coming in with these older leaders who are in their 60s and if not attacking
this is a mess.
70s. Now it's a mess. Now he's having to fight. He's going against this old regime to try to establish a new way of doing things. And I'm telling you, he's facing some backlash.
Okay, again, this is something we have to. Okay, these are like more church politics. I don't like church politics, but unfortunately, if you're in leadership, I don't care who you are, you're going to have to deal with it. And if you're like me, don't like to deal with it, you're going to be terrible at it, but you're going to be forced to deal with it. and this is one of the things I realized, and I got this advice from a friend. You cannot come in and lead with the leaders of your predecessor.
Whoa, say that again. I don't think
you
they are.
cannot come in to lead a church and lead with the leaders of your predecessor. Meaning, ok, mon cher, ou pas qu'à entrer dans l'église et pour dire comme ça, on va continuer à mener l'église là avec même groupe leader que moun qui était avant, moun qui devancé que lead l'église là. L'impossible. Faut l'église là comprendre ça et puis avant d'accord pour l'église là, faire sûr que membres et comité comprennent que m'a obligé établir leader pas. Now, the idea and the vision of the church, that you should continue. You may have to broaden it, you may have to modernize it, but you should continue that so that there's some consistency. However, I want to make sure to understand that one of the first things you do, you come in. My father has a secretary. She could not be my secretary. Totally different vibe. It's like, hey, grandma, this wouldn't work. So you have to understand that. So the youth coming in, and it's emblematic of what's going on with the youth. We're coming in, and they want us to lead with the leaders of our Father. Let me make it make sense to the theme, to what we're discussing. Sometimes they want us to come in and do what they did, when they did it, how they did it, not taking the time to consider that I'm a different man than my father. Not only am I a different man than my father, I am a different leader than my father.
The leadership style is different.
The leadership style is different, and not only am I a different leadership style than my father. By my father, I'm not referencing in particular my father, just the generation before me. I'm not only a different type of leader. Oftentimes, the times have changed. So what was a requirement upon him is not a requirement upon me, and my requirements have changed, but you want me to do the same things he did. That cannot work. And when you don't allow the youth to come in with their difficulties, with their downfalls, with their mistakes, and let them come in and do what they need to do without violating the principles. We can violate the methods without violating the principles.
Absolutely.
We can violate the traditions, but still respect the principles that the traditions were put in place to protect. So long as we get there, we understand that. What are you going to do? You're going to change the style of worship, but we will keep the essence of worship. Yes.
Talking about that, there's okay. a new where I mean. So we have a group of young Haitians who are Americanized, who are just phenomenal producers, musicians. And they are taking the exact same old songs from the Chant d'Espérance.
Yep.
And they are putting their spin on it. And guess what? Those very same songs that once upon a time that we used to get so tired of it. Now, as we are growing up now as we are maturing, and life begins to lifing to each and every single one of us, and those songs we have now,
they've taken new meaning,
found a new meaning, and gain a whole new level of understanding to those songs, and we find ourselves worshiping to the songs in our times of difficulties and our trial seasons, and it sounds better to us now. The fact is that this I can relate to,
because music plays a huge part of your worship ritual.
Absolutely.
So, and I hate it for the Christians. We don't like to call it ritual. That's what it is. It's a ritual. It's a worship ritual. And our worship ritual, music plays a large part of it. So when the music is music that you can identify it because it's music from your generation, it works out. I remember listening to those guys play that old school keyboard. We'll come back to that one. We'll come back to that one because that deserves a special
Love it.
Okay, so you remember the old school keyboardist? This is like, and the youth is like lost. And then all of a sudden you get somebody like Emmanuel Jean-Louis. You throw him on the keyboard. Reginald Mozart. You throw him, Vic Keys. You throw some of those guys on the keyboard. It's different. And it's like, yeah, this is for me. And like, I'm not going to talk down about the previous generation. That was their music. and that was okay. But you must now allow me to begin to inject what is of me into the church. I say it like this. My grandfather, in his whole life, he wore a fedora hat. Smooth old man. I don't care what you say, my grandpa was smooth. And by the time my father's generation came up, they weren't wearing fedoras. They just had, they didn't know, you went around with your head nude.
Yeah.
From back then, especially if you came from, like I said, a la campagne, you came from Andeo.
Yeah.
Back then, it was strange to them to see their sons not take to wearing a hat. Now, my father comes in and I'm coming to church, and not every time I want to wear a tie, because I know how much you love wearing ties, but I want to wear a tie. I want to wear a necktie every time.
Stop it, man. I don't even wear ties, man, unless I have to. I mean, listen, my wife literally have to force me, hey, man, you're going to preach, man, at a Haitian church, you got to wear a tie. I said, babe, it's like, the tie doesn't make the sermon any better, man. Please, just leave me alone.
But it makes the Haitian more receptive.
Yes, but it does make them more receptive. So therefore, I ended up having to wear it. And I tell you, the moment I start preaching and we get into the peak of the message, the first thing you will see me
doing one of these.
I loosen up the tie, and it's like, all right, now I'm comfortable.
Yeah. And so I come in, of course, as a young pastor, one of the first things that I hope to God that your pastors taught you was to understand the audience and make sure to dress to the audience.
To study
because you audience. Don't want your dress code, how you present yourself, to be what throws the audience off. It is a truth when it comes to speaking.
Absolutely. And it's in every aspects in life. I mean, if you think about it, if it's hot outside, you're not wearing a coat. Like you're in New York, man, it's 20 degrees.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to be flexible enough to know that, okay, not everything that is permissible that you should actually do.
Exactly.
It's not everything that you can do, you should do.
Exactly. Paul says that.
Yeah, so you have to keep in mind of the people that you're about to serve, what is their method or their preference, how they would like to be served.
Well, exactly.
So if you don't do that, I remember there's a preacher that I invited to preach somewhere, and to my surprise, I mean, we were young. And to my surprise, he just wore one of the ministry polo shirts. Went to go preach, and he wasn't received well by the older generation. I mean, I was pulled to the side. He was criticized. Not that the sermon was not great, not that the people were not blessed, but they did not receive him well. But then, now we know. I knew that.
You knew that. You were instructed on.
Yeah, but he didn't know at that time. Now, it's a complete different story. Now he's in suit and tie. I mean, it's like, man, I can't present myself like that.